Hi, I'm Meredith Miller. You're watching BTB TV, and welcome back.
Ryan Trebon, welcome to Crosstalk.
It's nice to be here on Crosstalk.
It's great.
I've been waiting. It's been put me off for a month, so.
Let's take it right back in time here. That's what we do here. A lot of people know, obviously, what you've been doing this season, what you've been doing the last few years, but you, more than a lot of other guys, I think a lot of people just don't really know where you came from, how you got into this. Take me back to Ryan Trebon childhood. Where'd you grow up? What were you like as a kid? What kind of sports did you play?
I was born in California. My parents lived in Lake Elsinore. My dad was kind of like, before he got in the military, he lived there flying skydivers at Lake Elsinore in like the 70s and 80s, early 80s. And I grew up all over. I moved, I think, 15 times when I was a kid. So majority, I think I spent probably in the South, in like between North Carolina and quite a bit of time in Washington State. And I've moved a lot.
So even just, talking sports-wise, like, you must have, like, you can't even play for like a team sport at that point because you're changing within the school year. And
No. I never changed in the school year.
Oh,
Typically, we were someplace either for 1 or 2 years. Not like 2 years is the longest I really lived anywhere when I was growing up as a kid, and that was just kept kind of moving every once in a while. And once my dad kind of got further up in his career, we moved a lot more frequently, But like I moved to North Carolina 3 different times, and
Whoa.
So the same city, we just came back to the same base. So I played sports at school, but. I don't know. I never really.
Was cycling a thing for you early on then, or were you an athlete early on, or did you discover this later in life?
No, I always just played I played soccer my whole life growing up. And then one year I went to like this school in North Carolina, and I worked like during the summer, and I saved up all my money and bought my first mountain bike, right? And I was like in 8th grade. And then my dad got stationed in Tacoma, Washington area, and we moved up there. And just some kid down the street was really into bike riding, and I started riding a ton with him. And I did my first race like 2 weeks later, and that's when I was like 14 years old, I think. And then I just started riding all the time from there.
Was racing a thing that hooked you right away? Were you super competitive? Were you really good at it right away, or did you just love riding the bike?
No, I wasn't very good at it at all. My first race I did, because I only ever ridden mountain bikes with friends, and so we get the race, and we get halfway through the race, and these weren't like small loops; these are big loops, and this is when like junior races were like 3 hours long, and just because you race what everybody else did. I got in the woods and I was by myself, and I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, I've never been here before. I don't know where I'm going. I hope this is the right trail. And so I thought I was lost, for a while. I was just, well, just keep riding along, but no, I don't think I became good and like a good racer until I was probably 21.
So that's different. I mean, we talked to, like, for these interviews, we've talked to Jeremy, we've talked to Tim, and these guys are, everyone's known them since they were 14, 15 years old, racing junior cyclocross in New England and stuff like that. What were you doing until you were 21, 22? Were you still riding and racing and training? It took you that long to get that good, or were you not really focusing on it, doing other things?
No, I was riding and racing as much as I could, but some people get the opportunity.
Yeah.
With a development team or this and that, someone sees them and helps them along, and I never really had that as a kid, and I've always made my own opportunities. No one was ever like, hey, you look good, we'll just give you a bike and all this stuff, until I proved myself, and that's when I got an opportunity, and so a lot of people that came to like the Devo program and stuff,
right?
They got a lot, I was always envious of what that, because I was in the Devo program, it was big, in the mid 90s, and so I always wanted that, but it just was never a reality, and I think that's one of the reasons me and Barry became good friends, is because, we never got anything when we were juniors and U23s, and so we get along really well. We kind of understand that, and it's just funny because, I'm one of the last people racing that, I feel my generation, that really, there's a ton of other people that have retired or just quit racing, and so, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah,
There's so many 80 or 81 riders left out there, like me and Adam, and Adam's kind of taking a step back from racing as well too. So, like competitive, like cross country and cyclocross racing.
So for you, all those years it was on the mountain bike, not road racing or even cyclocross at the time.
No, I didn't get
you wanted to be a mountain bike racer. That was what you thought about.
For sure. Yeah, I started racing mountain bikes in '94. And I didn't get a road bike until '99, I think. I just, you really have so much limited resources, and I wanted a new mountain bike more than I wanted a road bike. But I think the first entry I ever did was on my mountain bike with knobby tires. I was like 16 years old or 15 years old or something, and like it was a long day on the bike, that's for sure.
So tell me about, you say at 21, 22 that you got good or you got support. What was that? Was that a conscious effort? Did you sit down one day and say, okay, I need to really take this seriously if I want to make this a career and train hard, or did things just sort of start clicking? Did matured or something like that?
No, I don't know, honestly. I was living in North Carolina at the time. I had a friend, a really good friend, Everett Baker, who lived in Tennessee, and we raced for this Crystals team, right? And we did mountain bike racing and road racing and stuff. And he lived in like Johnson City, Tennessee. And so I would just go stay with him for a month or so at a time. It was good riding, and I think some people take a while to develop, especially like in endurance sports. And I don't know what happened. I just all of a sudden started riding well and winning races, and finished 9th at like a Norba National in Sun Valley, and went to Worlds for cross country, UC23, got 15th. Then did cross racing that winter and won a ton of like these, that's when I won.
That was 2000.
2002.
2002.
Yep.
So was that your first introduction to cyclocross then?
No, I had raced a year before. I did the year before just kind of locally in North Carolina, and then I went out to nationals in '02 in Napa, and I got third in the U23 race. And so I went to Worlds after that in Monopoly. And then that's when I did Crystals that one year, and that's the year that I did mountain biking, and then that's when I started racing for Kona in that 2003 winter, and that's when I started winning races, and like won Worcester.
Yeah,
there you go.
Close enough.
So, yeah, and that's kind of how I started racing. That's when cross, I started racing for Kona. They really wanted us to race cross mountain bikes, and it just kind of kept getting from there.
When you tasted cross for the first time, you were good at it. Was it something that you felt you wanted to pursue? Was it something that you liked more than mountain biking, or were you focused at that time on, did you want to be an Olympian on the mountain bike and cross was just a side thing?
No, I was more mountain biking still. I mean, when I first started racing cross, I was riding on a mountain bike. I didn't have a cross bike for the first year. And then when we started racing with Kona, I was signed to race mountain bikes for Kona primarily, and then we had a cross team as well. And it was more, I would say until about 2006 when the mountain bike was more of a priority. And the cross, we still made it a priority, but the team didn't really do as much with it. And once I told them that, like, I want to do this more instead of doing that, and the guys, Mark Peterson at Kona was really behind it, and he just kind of let me kind of tailor my season to what I wanted to do, and showed us more support financially and stuff with going to races and having mechanics there. So
yeah, I mean, tell me about that switch in mentality. I mean, you had 2006, I think, was the year you won the cross country national championships as a mountain biker. So
and cyclocross that year.
And cyclocross, but just so starting with mountain bike, I mean, you're at the pinnacle there of your success on the mountain bike, but yet you're making this conscious decision to say, I think I want to be a cyclocross rider. Because if you look from 2006 on, and really when people look back at your career and think about your name, I think the majority of people will think of you as a cyclocross rider. Yeah. So tell me about that switch to say, I'm so good at both, but I want to put my energy into cyclocross. Why was that the avenue for you?
I don't know, honestly. I think I enjoy it better for me. I liked racing the mountain bikes, and I had, 2004, 5, and 6, and whatever. I've always had pretty good success in the mountain bike, and I've won Norba races. It was kind of like I'd win one a year, versus cross where you win a lot of races, and I won more races, and so when you're more successful, you like it more, and I still like racing mountain bikes for sure, but I don't know, just kind of developed into me feeling more comfortable on the cross bike, and I feel like when I'm out there racing, that's like what I'm supposed to be doing, Yeah. When I'm on a mountain bike, I still feel good on the mountain bike, but I just don't have the same, I don't feel the same when I'm on a mountain bike, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, when I'm on a cross bike and we're racing, it's like, this is where I belong, and on a mountain bike, I'm like, I'm still good at it, but I lack that little bit that, like, Jeff Kabush has, or
yeah. I mean, even when you were winning nationals or winning Norbas, you were never podiuming at the World Cups or that kind of thing. Whereas in cyclocross, that's always been a realistic sort of opportunity for you, I'd say.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it suits my skill set better.
Why? Because you're tall? You're a big guy, can't climb.
No, I actually climb really well for being a big guy. I just, mountain biking's
Is
all
that like being the smartest kid in the slow class?
for a big guy. Yeah, pretty much. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually really good at climbing and stuff. I just, I don't know. I'm not as technically proficient on a mountain bike as guys like Jeff and them are. So, for me, I have to be really good to win a race. You know, I don't win a race when I'm at like 90%. I only can win a race when I'm at 100% because I have to make my fitness take up for that little bit of lack of technique that I don't have that they do.
Yeah.
So I've always relied on that in mountain biking. I've never been able to drop people on downhills. I can hold my own, but I've never like excelled. I'm not like an Adam Craig or.
Yeah. When you look at when you look at your power profile across the board, what are you naturally most gifted at? Are you a climber more than anything? Are you a sprinter? What about your skill set makes you so good at cyclocross?
My ability to go from like threshold to a lot more and then back, and I can jump around from, I can go really hard a lot of times
And recover from that over and over again.
and it's just the way I train, just physiology, I guess, and,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So tell me about, so you make that switch, you focus on cyclocross, and you have immediate success. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say you dominated the sport for a period of time in the way that sort of Jeremy did last year and Tim has done in the past. You won the USGP. You won almost everything. It was expected that you would win. The last few years you've been very good, but you haven't dominated in that way. And with guys like Jeremy coming up, and you win a lot less races. Do you feel like at this point that the best days are behind you, or are you still fighting to get back to that level? Do you still think there's a time next season or the season after where you're going to be the guy winning every weekend and be considered the odds-on favorite again?
No, I think my best days are here in the future. I'm definitely better than I was then.
Yeah.
Fitness-wise, technique-wise, how I race. The amount of support we have and stuff like that is all hugely better than it was in 2004 and stuff.
So everyone else has just come up alongside.
I think I was just fortunate to get into cyclocross at a time when I was good and not nobody, but not a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on it, and I just had success, and as cyclocross has gained in popularity, more people put emphasis on it, and they're trying harder and they're gearing their seasons towards it. And that's why you see a lot of people that were good 5 or 6 years ago that they're not so good anymore.
They can't crack the top 20 now.
And so, and for me, like it's been 10 years we've been racing at the front of races, 10 plus years. And so, it's not because I'm getting slower, like Jeremy's had a good couple of years, and it's just the way things go. You don't just go to 10 and stay there, like you go up and then sometimes you come down, and sometimes you'll have a bad year or a bad 2 years, and it could be not from lack of trying or training. It's just things in life. Sometimes 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4, and so I don't know. I foresee myself only getting better still.
So when you think about getting better, I mean, you've won the series, the GP. You've won nationals a number of times. We're talking about Jeremy and guys like that. I mean, Jeremy's just announced that he's a full-time cyclocross racer and he's going to Europe. For yourself, when you look at these next few years and the last sort of chunk of your career here, what's the goal for you? What keeps you going? Do you just want to continue to be consistent, continue to try and fight for races, or is there a next step or something that is still on your to-do list that you feel like you haven't done yet?
I don't really. I'm kind of taking a step forward, but a step back in what I'm doing. I'm actually going to start racing more mountain bike stuff as well too. I kind of felt that with just not doing a lot during the spring and summer, that I wasn't. I don't know. I enjoy racing. I enjoy being out there and stuff. And so I'm going to do a full spring mountain bike season into the summer and stuff. I just want to do. I want to do more. I enjoy it. I enjoy being out there and. But I'm still going to do as much cross as I am now. I just think that I want to race more. I didn't want to do like where you do 4 races during the summer and that's it. I wanted to just kind of hate getting out of shape and then trying to get back in shape. It's like getting out of shape is pretty fun. You don't really do anything, but getting back in shape always sucks. And it's just like the worst feeling. And then I got tired of going to the mountain bike races and not winning. And not being as competitive as I wanted to, and so I talked to the guys at Cannondale and the guys at Show Air, and I was like, I want to race mountain bikes. You know, I want people to go back to being like, hey, Ryan is a mountain bike racer, not a cross racer racing mountain bikes. You know, I'm both. You know, and I can do both equally well. And so I don't have any ambitions to really spend the whole season in Europe racing cyclocross anymore. I would like to go and do more over there, but it's just challenging. You know, not in terms of racing, just logistically, and it's a long way to go. You know, I mean, for me to get 2 Europes, an entire day of traveling, and you know, I like racing in the U.S. We have really good, like a really good scene, really good series. I'd like to see that grow more. And in Europe, it's just, I don't know. Some races I'm really into, but it just doesn't really. A lot of being over there doesn't float my boat, you know.
Right. So we got cross going. We're going to come back as a mountain bike. And I said earlier that people will probably remember you as a cross rider. Maybe that won't be the case now. But when you look 5 years or 10 years down the line, when you hang up your racing wheels, how do you think you'll be remembered? How would you like to be remembered as a cyclist?
I don't really care, honestly. You know, I mean, for me, I just like racing, and I like attacking, and I like just going out there. You know, like what people's perception of me. You know, obviously, I don't want people to think I'm a total dick, but you know, at the end of the day,
You're the guy who goes on the first lap and then fades.
Oh, totally. I'm comfortable enough with myself that like I just don't really care anymore if people don't like me or if they think so. You know, I mean, they're always somebody's always gonna not like you no matter what you do. So
I think most people like you.
Yeah.
Except for Tim Johnson, but
yeah, well, it's a mutual feeling.
Any good Tim stories before we wrap up?
I don't.
You guys spend a lot of time together.
Way too much time, honestly. It's really weighing me down. I think that's why these last couple of years haven't been as good as they should have been. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't have any stories offhand.
Next time, then.
Next time.
All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
This has been another edition of Crosstalk.